So here we are. I'm about to attempt to replace the very, very flat paper bell rollers off my Mercedes Superba. Look at that, that's terrible. And I was very, very lucky. I've just measured this actually. I'll just use that. Just double check the, oops. Let's try not to get it on the flat part. So, let's just turn that around there. About 12.32 diameter. And I was really lucky. A while back I went to a rubber manufacturer in Vienna, and absolutely free he gave me 2 big rolls of 2 different sizes of rubber tubing, which he said was fine to give me free, because normally they would throw these offcuts away, so they keep some in case anyone needs any. And as a result of that, the closest he could get to the diameter is I've got this one, which is, I think the other one was 12.38, about 11.75, so a fraction below, or sort of narrower. And I think I've got a big fatter one here, 12.85. So I think I'm going to go with the slightly bigger one. And when you see them in comparison, I mean, there's hardly any difference really between the two. Whoops. There's not much difference between them if I put them together like that. It's just, well, yeah, a little bit bigger. That's the flat side. Let's get rid of that. But if I use this one, which is a bit narrower, this is probably a much closer fit. So possibly if I drill out the center and try and push it onto one of these rollers here, you can see inside you have these, there's a little roller inside this one. Maybe that will push it out and expand it a bit more. So maybe I will go with this thinner one. So I'm going to attempt to drill through this. Thankfully I've got more than enough rubber to practice with, but I'm going to attempt to drill through it, push. I'm going to cut off that piece there and try and push that through a hole, and we'll see how that goes. So that's my next tinker. Ugh, rubber's very black and horrible. So let's give that a go. So again, success at last. That was quite a tricky job, I have to say, and I wish I'd used gloves because my fingers are sore now. But as you can see, I've successfully managed to get the roller onto the rubber. And I'll tell you what was difficult. First of all, it was difficult trying to drill through and get the centre exactly in the centre. You can see there's a good example there. Also cutting the rubber, you can see you always get a funny edge. So it took a few trials to try and get a really straight edge, but eventually I got there. And I have sanded both of the ends down a little bit. But what I used was, like a little hand drill. This one is maximum 3mm drill. So I use the measuring calipers to really try and find the middle point, and I stuck a drawing pin at each end. Then I pushed through a very sharp awl that I've got to make sure it meets up. Then I use this 3mm drill through it first of all, hand drill, and then moved up to a 5mm on a bigger hand drill that I've got. So I didn't do anything mechanically, but it was tricky. Both of this shaft here had a kind of chamfered edge to cut into the rubber, so it did take a little bit of tapping. And inside there is the other tube that's, yeah, I've got that fixed in there. So I kept that tube in there to keep the form of the outer parts here of that metal, because if you didn't, it would have collapsed in on itself. So I needed to keep this this metal tube, which is a lot more stronger. I kept that in the middle there while I was tapping it through. So it took a little cajoling. It's not exactly dead center, but I've already fitted the other one on the machine and turned the platen, and the rollers do turn round. So again, when it's all fitted finally and I've got some paper in there, I'll be able to demonstrate it. But I'm very, very pleased that I've managed to do that. and now I've got to fit that back in with the little spring. It's like a bit of a spring thing back onto the paper bell. So yeah, success, very pleased with that. Cheerio. So that's the paper bell rubbers fitted. You can see them both working, which is really nice to see. They're turning the paper. A little bit off-centered, but it doesn't matter because they actually work. Nice sticky rubber. So